Welcome to the Key Influencer Show, talking social media and culture. This is James Andrews.
Today, our guest is Myleik Teele. She's the founder of CurlBox and a friend of mine. And I love that her office is strategically placed around the corner from my office.
Right, I know. I almost walked.
Yeah.
It's a little wet out today, though.
It's cool that we're so close.
Yes.
Because, and let's talk a little bit about how we first met. I'll let you know before I gush over her that I find her to be one of the most innovative entrepreneurs that I've spent time with in the last year.
Awesome,
and so I keep her super close to me under the belt. And where did we, if you can just remember, I don't. I think I stalked you.
I wouldn't go that far. I think we both go to the same hair person.
That's right.
And Danielle's like, oh my God, do you know Myleik? And then I think you were like, you tweeted me. Right. And I got the tweet while I was like either getting off of a plane and I saw the tweet from you and I was like, oh my God, yes, I have to connect with him. And then I forgot for like a whole week. And then it hit me again. And then I think I messaged you back like, hey, yes, I did get that. I do want to connect.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. And I think we did like lunch, like maybe a week later. Yeah. You stopped by the office.
That's right, I did.
Yeah, we stopped by the office and we had a good chat and then we had lunch and
That's
then
right.
You've been like plugging me in. You know, I've gotten some really cool, I mean, it pays to know you. So, you know, I've gotten connected. You'll like send me an email like, hey, Hyundai. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
We did some fun stuff with Hyundai.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That video, I just randomly looked at it the other day. I think it's at like over 60,000 views. Like, I didn't even give 60,000 views on my own.
That was fun. Yeah, so in a short amount of time, we've done some fun stuff. We did a thing with Melody McCluskey at Style C.
Oh my God, yeah. And she's been like a super awesome just person to know and kind of get me out of my own way. Like
Good.
She got me on Tinder.
No.
Dating. I'm still going out with my first Tinder date thanks to Melody.
I saw him. He has like an arm. Wait, is that him?
He's very cute. That is him.
He's got like a bicep.
Yes.
I saw your Facebook page.
He's
It's like
super
a
cute.
guy with a bicep and a puzzle. And then she's got a smart brainiac new boyfriend. That's what I interpreted.
Yeah, he's super he's more like super like it was so funny. We're putting together the puzzle. He's got all his puzzle pieces organized by feminine and masculine, meaning like pieces going out versus pieces going in. And then you see my puzzle, I just got stuff everywhere. I was like, this is how I work. Like I organize chaos. And he's like,
Nice.
totally different. But Melody, I was telling her I hadn't dated in like a year, and Melody is like, you need to get on Tinder. And I'm like, Melody, I'm important.
Important people don't do Tinder.
And she's like, kind of like, get over it. So she starts showing me, and she showed me like some of the people that were on there, and like it wasn't all bad.
Does she use Tinder, Melody?
I'm not going to say whether or not she uses it or not. I'm just saying that she has friends. You know, she knows everybody.
I know.
She knows everybody there.
She has her own Tinder, I think.
Right. She is her own, like she is a force to be reckoned with. And so I got on there and I'm like, I did my profile, then I was still scared. Then I like started like liking people, still scared. And then finally I saw this guy that was like super cute. And I was like, this is a guy that I would actually date. So I actually like, when I matched up with him, I wrote him like, oh my God, like I love your smile or something. And he was like, I think you're like the first girl that's ever like done that.
Wow. How long has it been? How long have you guys been dating?
Almost 6 months. Mm-hmm. I know. I'm telling you guys all my business.
So you're off the grid.
Kinda.
You heard it here, folks. on the Key Influencer Show, a woman that you might think is on the grid. You've seen her Instagram photos. You've seen them. You know, when she goes out, it's a serious affair, boy. You get 4 or 5 looks each night, right? She's off the grid, y'all.
Yeah, no. So Melody, it's just like I think that's what's so awesome about connecting with people like you, connecting with people like Melody, is that as business oriented as this is, and I was even talking to you about this, like how hard it is to date in this space. And even you were kind of just like shaking your head like, yeah.
No, I'm off the grid.
You're like, I don't know how you guys are going to do it, but good luck. Like,
good luck on that one.
Yeah, like, I mean, you were saying, like women who...
Yeah.
You're so busy, it's so hard. And so that's why I recently did a dating podcast that just says, you know, something that I learned from Melody and from trying this is that it has to become a priority. Much like, so after I got on Tinder and was doing this stuff, I committed to 2 nights a week to date. So It was like, just like I work out 3 mornings a week, I was like 2 nights a week, I'm going to date. So if somebody asked me out, I was pretty much like, yeah. And it kind of killed the nerves. And so I was just like, all right, I don't know, like when you are busy and you are working like we are, you have to organize this.
I know.
And you have to do it. Like, thinking you're gonna just bump into someone. We don't bump into anyone anymore. We're on our phones. We've got the music blaring in the car on Spotify.
Well, guess what? When you get married, you actually have to organize, like, it doesn't end. My point is, like, everything gets scheduled.
Yeah.
Like, you have to schedule everything. I gotta like talk to my wife, like, can something happen tomorrow night? Like, can I get it in your calendar? You know? But no, everything is, when you're an entrepreneur, when you when you live a life that's not 9 to 5, scheduled, you're in one city. It just, when you're an entrepreneur, it's these things have to be managed. Working out, making love to your mate,
whatever
or whatever it is.
You have to plan it. You have to.
Yeah.
You really do. And so, I mean, there's these. I'm like, I don't know if you want to care, but if we're talking to other entrepreneurs, Cosmo makes these like 365 day a week, like sort of, I don't know, intimacy or just like spontaneity kind of cards. So it's like you can like pick one out and like say like, okay, before Wednesday we are going to do this. And it actually is pretty cool because it's like something that you guys will have to do together, and you have to get it done. And even if you're just talking about it, it still like connects you.
That's good.
So it's very cool. Like, I really try to work on these things because I know, and just by being around me, this guy is now becoming an entrepreneur. So this is his last like week. I can say it because he put in his notice.
Wow.
So he's going off and doing his own thing. And I think, I'm just saying, like, there's no ceiling or no limit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you're good at what you do and you're cute. Like, I'm like, the fact that you're cute is enough for you to be making more money. Get out here.
Well, you're inspiring. That makes sense that, after you guys started swapping spit, that he would sort of feel this entrepreneurial thing.
Yes.
Tell the folks listening sort of how you got started. Well, first of all, let's tell them if they don't know already. For those of you that have been living under a rock, you should know what CurlBox is, and they're doing phenomenal business. And maybe you can explain a little bit about what you guys do.
Okay, CurlBox is a monthly subscription service for hair products for women who have naturally curly hair. Most women with naturally curly hair are African American, and so
there's some nice Jewish girls out there with some
curly hair. Oh my God, we have nice Jewish girls. We have this girl Diane Mary 126 on Instagram.
Yes.
She's like this super cute Barbie blonde who got CurlBox for a long time and did some awesome videos. And so I think that our market is mostly African American, but we definitely have some, like, Latina writes about us often, which we love. So we are for everyone. If you have a tighter curl pattern, even if you relax or you straighten, like we call straight naturals, we put together products for these people to try, women and men, because I used to think all women, but there are men getting CurlBox as well. And that just focus on moisturizing and manageability. So we want for people to feel like they can do their hair and not be so frustrated, which I think was a huge concern for us for a long time.
So let me get this straight from the business model perspective. So they sign up to become a subscriber.
They do. So any day of the month, you can go on our website and get information. You can sign up to get on the list, is what we call it. What getting on the list means is that you are now on the list to get more information about our exclusive monthly membership, and then we do some sort of boxes throughout the year: CurlBox Natural, CurlBox Kids, and now we're working on CurlBox Body, which I'm really excited about. So by being on the list, you find out about when all these things are happening. Why do you need to be on the list? Because these boxes don't last. Our memberships don't last. So we flexed up on our membership this year, which meant that our list was open the longest it's ever been, about 18 hours. We haven't done that.
Oh, by the way, I know this is a big deal because my producer, Cameron, when she knew that we were booking you as a guest, she was like, oh my God, I've been trying to get on the list for so long.
Yes.
And I said, I might know someone who knows someone.
Right, that you may be able to.
Right, but I understand that it's like, basically at 18 hours, you're only taking in X amount of people.
Well, that we haven't done 18 hours. So our 3-year anniversary of collecting money was this month, and then our 3-year anniversary of boxes is next month. So we hadn't done that in 3 years. So our memberships sell out in about 30 minutes. So this month, which was this past Saturday, every Saturday at 3 Eastern, we open this list. And the number of memberships typically flex, but it's a lot. I don't think people realize it's not like 4 or 30 or anything or 300. Like, it's a lot of memberships. And
but it rotates every month. So if I'm in January, I may not get in February?
Once you sign up, you're good until you cancel.
Oh, okay.
But it's about becoming an initial member.
Initial member, got it.
And so that part is tough. And I have tried, like this past weekend, I tried to get a membership. I will try myself to test, like, how hard this is, you know? And I really don't want it to be this hard. I really don't. Like, sometimes I get mad, like, with my team, like, why is this crashing? And they're just like, I think sometimes we get like 70,000 hits like at one time, which crashes the site.
So from a fulfillment standpoint, it's just a matter of the business. You couldn't fulfill.
We couldn't, no.
More because of the demand. I mean, but you're also using products from companies, right?
Yeah, right. And so I think that sometimes people will write to me or say, you know, how have you not flexed up and taken on more members,
right,
not understanding the demand? But I think the larger picture, which a lot of people don't understand, is that companies I have to wait for them to catch up.
Oh, okay.
So in 3 years, like, if you noticed, if you've been down with us from day one, like, the boxes are like crazy amazing and so much better, because I knew that we had to wait for, you know how everything works. One person has to see another person do it. And so once if you see the number one brand doing it, you know, it's like we just kicked off the year with like Shea Moisture. And I don't know if you know about Shea Moisture, but they are easily one of the most powerful brands on any shelf right now.
It's shea butter.
Shea Moisture.
Shea Moisture.
Yes,
okay.
my mother calls it shea butter.
You know this, Cameron? Okay, good. Cameron.
Yeah, my mother calls it shea butter. She loves it. She's like, and they now make makeup, which is in Target. And so my mom is just like, she felt like by trying the Shea Moisture products in her CurlBox that she now trusts. She said, I trust anything that they do. So she pulls out some makeup and she's like, I bought their makeup because their products work so good. I trust. She literally said this. And I was like, I feel like my mom is like the target. My mom is not huge on YouTube. She's definitely not on Twitter. Even though I busted her one time, like, tweeting out pictures from her friend's party. Like, she didn't know. She just hits tweet on a website. And I was like, I was logged in and I woke up and it's like my mom's tweeted all these pictures of her girlfriends at her party. So she's not.
She's not, right. She's not on the grid.
She's not on Facebook. She's not really on the grid.
But do you have to be to find out about CurlBox?
A little bit because
the sign-up process is all driven by social?
It's all social. Like, we do everything online. You know, I literally kind of launched on Instagram.
You launched the company on Instagram?
I did. Back when people used to be super cool on Instagram and post like one picture a day. Right. Even it was like that was the thing, and I was like kind of spamming it. You know, now everybody spams it, so I don't do that anymore. But that's what I started to do, and I have a really good friend in business that explained to me that, like, focus on growing my numbers, because the larger numbers you have, I think it's like at least 1 or 2% of that number will buy something from you. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just get my numbers up.
So that's what you've done now.
Yeah.
You know? So CurlBox as a username has a huge following.
200,000 Instagram fans, over 200,000. And then we've got lots of people, over, I think 75,000 people signed up for that list we were talking about. Okay. And just, you know, I think 90,000 on Facebook. And what I don't do any contests that say follow me, follow this, follow that, because I feel like in order for me to do really good business, I need a really, I want to see how true my following is. So I don't really care if it's 100,000 or 500,000. I want to know that these are people that have clicked like and have signed up with me because they really want to be here, not because they want a free, you know, toothbrush or a free, I want people who are like, I'm here because I really enjoy what you're doing, and those are the people I think valuable followers. I have a true valuable following. So these are not like sign up here, get 10% off. I do not do that because I want to know what I'm really working with. Yeah.
And how do you curate the content? Do you have a community manager on your team?
I do. I have a really awesome community manager who, the people who work with me did not start out as friends. Like, they were masters at what they did first, and we've become friends over time. Okay. And by becoming friends, they have learned how to speak my language. So everything that comes out through CurlBox, someone else may be doing it, but these are people that I get together on Sundays at my house with, that I go to the museum with. Like I've pretty much traveled with every single person on my team for leisure purposes. You know, I try to get together with them so that they learn how to speak my language and they know what I like. So
they're fluent in.
They're fluent in my
CurlBox.
Yeah,
CurlBox fluent in
my,
your brand.
Yeah.
And they're fluent. Like I have this theory about being trilingual. That every brand, especially looking to perfect, you know, their digital communications approach, needs to be trilingual. So they need to be fluent in the brand, fluent in the medium, because each medium has its own language. Instagram's different than Facebook. Facebook's different than Snapchat.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
And then the third is fluent in the culture. So
Right.
knowing what's happening in the culture. So I would imagine that that's kind of what you guys have.
Right. Like, so our Instagram followers are more hipsters, you know what I mean? These are our New York girls. These are our, like, they like fly. I call them the fly girls. Our Facebook community is different. They like more like how-tos. They want to see like 1, 2, 3. They want to see steps. And then, you know, Pinterest is a little bit different. They like something totally different. And then Twitter. So I think that some people try to communicate the same across all of their platforms.
It's a no-no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And we've learned that, you know, our Facebook community prefers more straight style. So that's most of our straight naturals. The girl who's like the press out the hair, they love that cut color. Like that community is down with that.
And you learned all this over time.
Oh yeah.
By
measuring.
Getting measurement and then what have you learned as an entrepreneur and as the founder? Like, you know, how have you used social?
Oh wow. You know, I think that social allows us to really have like the closest connection possible with people. And so any kind of customer service issues, you know, like there was a situation where this one particular argan oil, when people were opening the top, was cutting people's fingers. Ooh. And so the brand didn't know that, we didn't know that, and they were so happy that we told them that like they had to switch the bottle. Like,
so you're providing a lot of feedback to these brands.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so you're playing a role for them from an R&D standpoint.
Yes, of saying, okay, and I don't think when you're shipping out thousands, when you're putting this in the hands of thousands at one time, you're going to get all the information that you need right at that point. And so I think that, you know, people can get together and do all of these like focus groups, and this is the ultimate focus group.
Right.
And so what I love about the community is that because this is a community, they didn't beat the brand up because of that. They kind of just gently let them know, like, because they see the fact that like it's a date. So it's like, okay, you took me out on a lobster date by providing me with this like $15 argan oil. But, you know, my chair broke a little bit, or, you know, it was a little too salty or something. So they are giving like this really, I think it's like constructive criticism. And I don't know, you probably know about Black Twitter. We go in.
Yes.
But this group kind of like, hey, you know.
They
like,
lovingly supply.
Yeah, like your bra
constructive
showing.
criticism. Right.
Tap on the shoulder, your bra showing.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
And they, so you know, I imagine with curly hair, you need to find, and I know all this because my daughter, who by the way interned for you.
And was so good.
She was great. All of 13 guys.
Yes.
And I had her intern for CurlBox this
Yes,
summer.
and she was so good.
And she's ready to come back. And now my wife has cut her locks out.
Oh snap! Okay, we got to get her some.
So she's now joined the ranks.
Have her come in. This week we should be having like a whole truck full of products, new products coming into the office.
Awesome! I'll have her come in.
Awesome.
I learned from those two in my house.
Okay.
That there is a constant ebb and flow of trial and error with these products.
Right.
And so, is it that once I find my thing that I don't need CurlBox anymore? Is that kind of where you're leading them to, or?
Yeah, we hope that they.
Is it here? I want to sample what's out there. Someone goes, I got the magic potion. I'm using this for moisturizer and this for this. Now I'm good.
Well, that's the hope. The hope is that we get you to a place where you have your holy grail products. The thing about this group of women is that they're very non-committal when it comes to their hair stuff. So I have some holy grail. I got some products that I love that I like use, but I'm like, oh my God, there's a new curl butter coming out. Like there's a new edge tamer. There's a new, like, I want to try it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, what I love that our group has become open to over the years is that being open to some stuff that you would never pick up. Like Pantene makes this like wax that is not, it's called something else, and you would never pick it up. But they sent it to us. I had a meeting with them, and they have celebrity stylists on hand that they were like this one, and it's not marketed to us. It's not in the ethnic section, but it's pound for pound one of the best products. They have a couple of like really good products that you would never think to use. So that's what we're trying to do, is introduce them to different things that work. Your hair texture is going to change 7 times over the course of your life. So it's not your fault that this stuff's not working anymore. You know, it's like if it's gonna change. The climate here in Atlanta, you know, in the summertime with the humidity, my hair gets bigger. So I need something different. Color, a lot of women color their hair. We do not want that gray. Now that I'm 35, the gray is coming. Color is gonna do something different. The product's gonna work different. And so my hope is to get you to a place that you can find what works, or if you're like me and you travel and you accidentally leave your whole bag at home like I have before, you can walk to CVS, walk to Walgreens, walk to Walmart, walk to Target, some of our brand partners, you know, walk in there, get what you need. I had a presentation and I needed to wash my hair and I had nothing. But I can go into CVS now and go boom, boom, boom.
Because you know the products well.
I do.
What's the cost for me as a monthly subscriber?
$25 per month, and you're usually getting anywhere from 30 to sometimes $80 of products.
Introducing Play.it, a podcast network like no other. From award-winning news programming and #1 sports brands to entertainment and business leaders, Play.it is delivering storytelling at its best.
We're going to be having conversations with newsmakers and culture shapers.
I will be talking mostly about fashion and how I've been marketing all my life.
Tech, culture, and entrepreneurship.
Everything in the world of sports, entertainment, and wrestling and beyond.
Hear what you've been missing at Play.it.
Talking social media and culture. This is the Key Influencer Show with James Andrews.
So you started off, and I don't know how much you want to talk about your customer base in terms of numbers, but you started off when you first, tell me how you started the business. Like, how'd you even get into this? Let's take it back. Let's give me old school stories.
I had the idea, and it was just like I quit it a couple times. I had this idea, just like you have in here, posted up all my like inspiration. These are the people, this is how I want it to look. And then I just started talking to some friends that are really, I have like 2 best guy friends that went to West Point. Like, these guys are like the smartest people that I know, but I'm very friendly with them. So I mentioned it to them, and I have one friend who kind of gave me all of the negatives. Like, these are all the problems you're gonna run up against. And he was right, because they were, and some of them still are. And then I have the other friend, and it's so funny that they're friends because it's like yin and yang. He's like, well, let me tell you all the positive stuff. And so he basically told me all the things that I can do and gave me some steps. Like, if you do these things, you can get it up and going. And so I like, you know, every time I would look at this project, it would just look like bigger than me at every moment. Like, I haven't worked in the hair industry. Like, I don't really know that many people, and I don't know if people know that I only had about 3 contacts for real, people who knew me when I called them on the phone when I started this.
In the hair industry?
Yes.
Right, because you had come from being a publicist.
In music.
Oh, okay. So the two didn't. You didn't have hair music clients, right?
No, and so I was like, so I quit it a couple times. Like, Myleik, you can't do this. Like, I literally told myself that.
Had you quit your job full time or no?
No.
You were still working.
I was still working my agency and had this idea. And then I told 3 people, and everybody that I told kept saying, "When is CurlBox?" I was like,
wow.
You know, and so it became like this baby in my stomach. Like, it wanted to be birthed. I swear, it kept me up at night. And I said, you know what? Forget it. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just launch it. I'm not ready. It's not done. I have no boxes. I have no products. But I'm gonna just go.
Wow.
So
you still had your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had my girlfriend design a splash page. So, you know, the logo, I tell people all the time, the logo, I was talking to this girl who designs, who made logos for clients for me when I was doing my PR agency. She called me one day as I'm getting my tire fixed. The hoopty that I was driving, the tire was always like flat.
Right.
It was always a flat
consistently
tire.
A problem.
So I was on the phone with her, and she was just like, I told her, like, girl, I got this idea, like, I want to start this company, but like, I'm just not happy with the logos, because I had a couple people try, and she was like, well, why didn't you ask me? And I'm like, because you're pricey and like I can't afford it. She was like, just send me your mood board. So I used to do mood boards for every client for logos. So I sent her my mood board for it, and she just sent back one logo. Normally she would send me back like 6 for clients to choose from, and I was like, that's it.
Bam, drop the mic, here's your logo.
Yeah, and then she was like, it was free. She was like, hey, if you ever make any money off this, just pay me back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like everything was aligning, whereas like you couldn't say no to the business idea.
So we launched the splash page at midnight, and that's just because I worked in PR. I know Sizzle, people like this kind of stuff. Midnight, what's happening? We had 1,000 people sign up at midnight for more information.
Wow. So you knew you had something.
I knew I had.
And you launched back then through Instagram or something?
Through Instagram and through Facebook, and I even had Essence online. I knew Tia Williams, and she put out something on their website. So I gave them the news exclusively. Okay. And we had 1,000 people sign up. And I promise you, we had like 1,000 people signing up per day that first week. And it was just like hundreds per day. And so I kind of took that information over the summer while I was preparing to do this, because I didn't want to tell anybody. Over the summer, I had literally researched every single hair care brand that I could find. Every single phone number, every single contact, every kind of email. So people were like, you still live in Atlanta? I stayed in all summer doing that. So when we launched, I just was like, I called one of my friends. I was like, all right, we need to call all these people and basically inflate it a little bit, tell them we have thousands of people signed up for more information and why they want to be the first to get in on this.
Wow.
So once I had like a couple months like kind of secured and I had all this crap in my house, I finally 3 years ago in January, I took it used to be $20 a month back then. And we had about 200 people sign up in about 24 hours, and even that was like a crazy big deal. And we got the boxes out. I thought that I would be packing these things myself and all that, but I ended up going to those 2 smart guys from West Point, introduced me to a friend that they know at West Point that runs like fulfillment, and I went in and had a meeting with him just to say like, I know you can't take me on right now because I'm too small, but how big do I need to be for you to take me on? And he just loved my story. We sat there talking like you and I were, and he was just like, you know what? Come on. No credit, no nothing up front, just like, I got you.
Wow.
So that was kind of like it was just this constant, like they say, like when the universe can, like when you take a step, the universe conspires to help you.
The alchemist. Yes.
It's just like every single thing that I did, it was like, oh, that's done. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
And not to say that I didn't run into some hiccups along the way, but it wasn't as hard as I think I had imagined it in my mind. You know, what was stopping me, because it felt so big, it was like I was just like, this is a lot, because, you know, I think in the first year or so, we had shipped hundreds of thousands of products. Hundreds of thousands of products.
Wait, did brands jump on immediately, or did you buy the product at first?
I wouldn't say I've never, because there has been a time where there are some things that I really have loved, and these are people who are small businesses. I've purchased done from small businesses, but either they send it to us or they pay us. Okay, so from the beginning, it's always been the model. Yes. And how hard was it to convince brands to be your partner? Hard, but I am like, when you come up in PR, you learn how to be like, rejection is nothing. You know, when you're trying to get Lil CC featured on LATimes.com and they're like slamming down the phone and you're like, that's okay. So this was the same thing. It's like, okay, I never took it personal when brands said no. And it's like some of the brands that are working with us now said no. Said no officially. Yeah. And then now they're like, I'm like, that's why I don't take it personal, because I said, no, it's just not yet. You wanted to see me prove myself. And that's fair. That's fair. So now that I've proved myself, let's go. You know what I mean? So it was not easy, and it was not easy at all. But my friend always jokes that, like, I love huge, ridiculous, like, challenges. Like, I'm like the girl in the clutch. I'm like the girl when you have exhausted every option, call me. I got this, you know? So I love this. Where do you get that from? Where'd you grow up? I grew up in Inglewood. I know the answer to that question. I love when I ask these questions. I feel so stupid. Yeah. Like, I know the answer. I should have said, she's from Inglewood. Inglewood, yes. Right. I grew up in Inglewood. And so, you know, I grew up, my grandmother is an entrepreneur. She's now retired. She's 89 now. But I grew up getting dropped off at her store, you know, my entire life. So she owned Benson's Bargain Center, where she would go out. In Inglewood. this was actually in South Central,
Okay.
where she would go out and find like a whole bunch of used things that were still good and resell them. And so she had like clothing items, and she always had refrigerators and washing machines. And so
She was the original Sloss and Swap Meet.
she was the original Sloss and Swap Meet. And so, different people, and it helped people in the community who didn't really have a lot, because she would go out to the nicer communities and bring this back to South Central. So if you lived in South Central and you only had $5, you could get a bag, like a trash bag of clothes. So that was the kind of stuff that she did. And so I would work with her, making deals with people, this is how much, because that's when you're dealing with this kind of thing. How much she would take me out like shopping to like the big swap meets where you're wheeling and dealing. No, I want all this for $5. And like my grandmother was like such a boss. Like, she would talk down everybody. So it's like, it's 10. She's like, I'll give you 6, And so I've seen this my whole life, and so I've seen women leading. So it was nothing, know. My grandmother was married to a younger man. He passed away a couple years ago, but he was like attractive. He was 10 years younger than her, and he worked for her there. So she was the boss. Of that store. And he did a lot of different things. She sent him out to pick things up. But so I grew up seeing this.
And then you spent how much time in Inglewood? I mean, you went from Inglewood to Atlanta, or was there a stop in between?
Inglewood, 6 years ago, I was living in Inglewood.
Wow.
So I went to college. I came back and lived in Inglewood because
Did you go to school in Los Angeles?
I went to school. I started at Howard. I was like, I don't like this. I think I just didn't like college. I know. Everybody, when I say that, I'm like, sorry. But I think that I didn't have any, like a lot of people who have family, who have friends, I didn't really know people that went to college or had an experience in college. So I think that what I thought college was and what I thought it was going to be and what it was were two different things.
Right.
And I was like, this is just like advanced high school. Like I thought I was going to go to college and be like wearing a blazer and like becoming a businesswoman. I thought that's what college was. I was like, this is high school.
Right.
Just like with...
But I pay for it.
My freshman year science book, biology book at Howard was the same book that I had in honors biology 10th grade at my private high school.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I could have just kept, because that book was like $97.
Right.
Like I could have just kept my book.
Right.
So I left, and then I went to school at Cal State Long Beach for a year, and then I left there. And then I think it started to come to me that I just didn't like, it was not the schools. I just didn't like college.
Right.
I didn't like the setup. I think I was ready to work.
Wow.
So
no wonder we get along. I'm the same guy.
Yeah. I finished up at San Francisco State.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did, because I think I just wanted to. I wanted to
Did you move to the Bay?
I did. So I lived in San Francisco.
And finished up. Did you move there specifically to finish at State?
Yes, I did. And there was this guy that I was like madly in love with that went to
story.
Berkeley. And I was like, well, I want to be closer to him. And he dumped me like the month that I got there.
Okay. So
which was like...
Then you were just you in San Francisco State.
It was me in the most expensive city in the world, like at 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were you thinking I'm going to go into entertainment PR? Is it kind of?
No, I was just like, I want to just do what I want to do. And so I worked at MAC Makeup, the MAC counter. I don't know if you know about that. Was like, I mean,
it's a coveted job.
15 years ago, I was the hot.
Yes,
yeah, I was her.
Yeah.
So I worked part time, and then it was like, I think it was like $13 an hour plus commission, and I worked nights and weekends.
Oh,
like
nice.
when I was like
in the city,
balling. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, I was doing so well. And then I got fired. Yeah, so it was like, I was just, I've always had that kind of like, don't tell me what to do.
Right.
I got this. I was the number 3 salesperson in that region as a part-timer.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this.
So what they fire you for?
Probably too mouthy.
Yeah,
I think I said some things I probably shouldn't have said. Some customers try to fight me. And, I'm still from Inglewood.
From Inglewood, still represent.
Right. Somebody said they was going to jump across the counter or something. I'm like, oh, I'm here. This might be Nordstrom, but I'm here,
right,
exactly. So I got fired. I was like, it's fine. So then I went to this agency that represented makeup artists, photographers, hair, and that sort of
in
deal.
LA?
In San Francisco.
Okay.
And right there in Union Square. And so the agent, who was Laura Taylor, she's out in Miami now. She's dope as can be. I interned with her, and then the makeup artist started to book me on shoots as an assistant. So I would like be on, she would book me, I never forget, Gap photo shoot, because Gap is out there. And I was an assistant to a makeup artist. I literally was just like powdering and putting on lip gloss for $400 a day. So while I'm in college, I would I worked on a 4-day shoot, and I didn't work for the rest of the month.
Nice.
So I started to do those kinds of things, and that's when being around other entrepreneurs, like makeup artists, people, photographers, people who are making a living by doing some really cool stuff, just kind of kept me going like, And so I actually interned with Unilever that summer after I worked at that agency. The girl who was my boss at the agency wrote me like the best letter of recommendation. So I worked on the Calvin Klein team up in the Trump Towers, Fifth Avenue, on the classic brand fragrances, the Obsession, the Eternity, and really I got that internship, and that was like for real work. Like I cried. I remember I went downstairs in the plaza after my first week and called my dad sobbing like, I hate this. This is for real, like crunching numbers. They gave me an assignment. It was like, the German market wants a 6-ounce shower gel. I need you, like, based on, I had to go out to like the plant, like based on our, product, like inventory and packaging, can we do this? And I'm like, what? And then they like plop this like 10-inch thick like numbers to pour over. And I was like, this is supposed to be the summer. Right.
Supposed to be kicking it, 9 to 5.
I'm working. Yeah. My dad was like, I never forget, I'm on my cell phone, my little flip phone in the plaza on the phone with my dad in tears, hot. And my dad, he just said, well, come on. I was like quit?
Like, go back to Inglewood?
He was like, yeah, it's that bad. Like that you're crying and sobbing. It's that, and I was like, no, that's okay. Right. And it was just like I got it. Like, shut up. Like, he didn't even have, And he literally was like, he was gonna pay. Like, come on back. It's that bad for you. Like, come on back home. I was like, oh no, he got me twisted. I can do this. And I think that's just what I needed to be like, I can do this. And it was a culture shock for me. Yeah. It's a black girl from Inglewood. I had braided my hair in like a number 30. You probably don't know that, but that's like an orangey type color. And I was like always like colorful and brightful. And I was working at Calvin Klein. Right. These are like khaki, white shirt, button down. Right. It's New York, and New Yorkers are like sophisticated. I don't care what they grow up like having lattes at 4. They do. They're on a whole different level. Yeah. And I'm from Inglewood, and I felt so out of place. But I just sucked it up, and I just did it. And my boss, Robin, at the time, come to find out, she liked Making the Band. So I would go watch Making the Band at her house and with her, and that's how we connected. Nice. And so that was our thing. Yeah, Dylon and all that. She was the Jewish girl, but she loved Making the Band. So that's how I connected. And then how'd you pivot from that into entertainment? I couldn't find a job. I graduated, couldn't find a job, watching TV, and saw like this guy saying like, find out what lip gloss Beyonce's getting in her Grammy gift bag. And so then they had this segment where the guy who kind of runs the gift bags came on, and I was like, the fact that I turned around and it had my attention, and then he flashed his company at the end of it, and I just wrote a letter. I emailed the company that moment and was just like, this is who I am. Like, you need me, but nicely, And so they wrote me back that day. It was like, we don't have any positions, but you can come. We'd love to have you come in for a meeting. Went in for a meeting. They hired me part-time on the spot in their PR department. Nice. And from there. And they were like a gift bag, gift suite. And they're still doing it. Yeah. And this is LA or New York? Okay. This is LA. And then after about a year doing that, this girl who used to work for, remember when Brad Pitt and Jen Aniston had a company together when they were married? Vaguely, yeah. Yeah, so when they split and that company dissolved, she came and worked at our agency. Oh. And she was just like, you're so good. What are you doing here? Like, you need to be in one of these like top companies. And I was like, well, what are the top companies? And that's when I found out about that underground job list. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the UTA job list. No. You have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody to get it. And like the people who know the people who know the people that you get it from, they take their emails off of it, because this is like, you may not know that this is how people are getting fired in Hollywood, because it's like jobs like Warner Brother, Disney. Like when somebody's sourcing for that position, it's like
someone's head's on the block.
Yeah, and so she started printing it off and giving it to me, and I went on interviews at, I want to say Sony, Disney, Warner Brothers, Fox.
Right.
Turned down from all those places, and I don't know. I took it personal because when I would get there, they're like, oh, I don't think I looked like who they thought I was gonna look.
Yeah, because Myleik is such a like.
Yeah, I think talking to me in the way that my writing skills, and so when I would show up, I would always see this like disappointment, like oh. So my boss, Devora, who did the PR launch for American Idol.
Okay.
She was like on and popping, and she needed she was able to build out her team, because I don't know, American Idol was it.
Yeah.
Like it took off.
Yeah.
And so I interviewed with her, and she took me in, and she was she was an assassin. Like I do not know a person who worked like she did. And she told me the same thing. Like I was able to keep up with her, but she was so good. She was so good. And that's where I kind of learned to she constantly kept pressing. She kept pressing. And so that's how I got to that place. And then Travis Barker hired me away from her.
Wow. So Travis Barker hires you, and then you do his personal PR, or you start your own company?
I work with him in his personal stuff, and then he owns Famous Stars and Straps. He owns he owned like a boutique. He owns like restaurants. I don't think people know how much he does.
No. Tell me. I don't know.
He produces, so he makes music.
So he's a little empire.
He is an empire, and he's so dope. Like I learned a lot from working with him. He was a trash man, and this dude was.
He was a trash man.
He started off as a trash man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
He was a trash man, and then it's just it would not be uncommon to get emails from him 6 a.m. Though he would be going to bed at midnight working, and it's just he works. He works. And I remember he had a party at his house, I think one time, and I remember he lives in this dope, I guess you call it a mansion, his home is humongous. And I remember being outside by the pool and thinking his pool area is doper than any house I've ever you got TVs out here, you got furniture that you're not afraid to get wet.
Right.
I need this. And so I think by working with all these different people, I was always trying to plug into the common denominator on what is it that pushes these people forward.
What was it about Travis? What do you think, besides being a former trash man?
Besides being a phenomenal drummer, I think that he took what he did very seriously. So sometimes he would practice until he puked. You know what I mean? He's playing that hard. He practices so hard. And he was always really open. I remember one time I reached out to him and I was like, Travis, you should do a fragrance, because he always smells so good. You see him all tattooed and you give him a hug and you damn. And I was you, and he was he didn't say no. I'm not saying no, feels a little cheesy, but if you can kind of keep bringing me something.
Was that part of your role? Was it sort of business development and PR?
Yeah. I would bring things to him, and we would book, he would host parties and stuff.
Right.
And so I would book the musical acts, and so we had the cool kids.
Because he and DJ
AM.
Right, were
they were good.
Were you around when them?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
when he
I
passed?
was. Yeah, I was. And I was I remember being mad that they left me on that trip when they went to South Carolina for the T-Mobile party, because Travis.
Oh, because the one in the accident. I'm sorry, I meant when he died.
Yeah.
No, that's right, they were in a plane crash.
Yeah, and his assistant was my that was my dude. He was my friend, and I remember I broke out in hives. I was devastated when Lil Chris passed away, because Chris was also I think at the time when he was alive and working with Travis, he was his assistant, but this dude was so cold. He made anything happen. Literally.
And he passed away, I'm sorry,
He passed away in the plane crash.
In the plane crash.
If Travis wanted purple lighting in this room, he would walk in here and let you know. He'd be hey, yo, so I need this. And you I don't know the way. He's yeah, you can. You actually can. And he would have somebody I actually got the light bulbs. There's someone here to switch those out, and we'll be done in 10 minutes. And so I don't, he constantly curated Travis's world. Travis walked around in this cloud of awesome things happening for him that Chris kept happening.
Okay.
He wanted everything done for him the right way all the time. And so, I was
wow.
I just had a conversation with him before he passed away, and I was just like, dude, you worked so hard. Like, you need to do something for yourself. And so he went on a vacation. He had like his first vacation. He went to Hawaii before he passed away. I remember he had like a tan, and I was like, oh my God, like never seen you tan before, you know, because he's always working.
Wow.
So yeah.
It must have been a traumatic time.
Yeah, after the plane crash, I actually moved. I just never went back to work. I couldn't.
Wow.
I could not.
Because he was here, I think, getting treatment at, wasn't there something? Or?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I never went back to work.
You never went back to work?
No, I couldn't. And I don't even know. I was like, the kind of way that my mind works, like, I was like, I don't even know who I thought I was. But I called, and I had like $7,000 in my 401k. And I was like, give it to me, because what if I don't even make it to spend this?
Wow.
I'm just, I took it, cashed out, took my little $7,000. I don't know how I saved that with the little pennies I was making, but I did. And I was dating a guy who lived here in Atlanta, and I just moved here, moved in with him in the height of the recession.
Wow. 2002, 3?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, it had to be later than that.
Oh, 6, 7. Obama. 7, 8.
Yeah.
7, 8, yeah.
I moved here, couldn't find a job to save my life. With all these skills, I have nothing. And so I signed up on this website, care.com. Right? I'm like, at this point, I'm desperate. I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Walk dogs, babysit, whatever. I don't care. And Kim Zolciak from Real Housewives of Atlanta found me on care.com. And I remember she called me on Valentine's Day, and it said Kim Z. And I was like, my friend was a writer for People magazine, and she was obsessed with Real Housewives of Atlanta at this point. So I started watching.
Is Kim's the white girl?
She's the white girl.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes. And so I remember her voice calling me, and I was like, I wonder if this is the chick from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I wonder.
Right.
But she was like, you know, if you can just, I need a lot of help. You know, like I'm on a TV show, I'm doing this. And I was like, oh, okay. So we set up an interview. She gave me $100 just for interviewing. I was like, it's on.
Right. Here it is.
Here it is. I needed cash. And so I started working with her.
Wow.
And I learned Atlanta like that.
Okay.
Because
Right.
she does everything in Atlanta. And I was like returning stuff for her, going places with her. I did
Right.
it. And so inside of 8 months,
Wow.
I was set.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And so then you fall into this entrepreneurial thing.
People saw me on the show and were like, because when I left LA, none of my LA friends knew where I went.
So you were on the show.
I was on the show.
Okay.
I kind of just like evaporated. And my friends, like, I was so sad, and like I didn't tell anybody I was leaving. After Chris died, I put in my 30-day notice in my apartment that same week, and I left 30 days later.
Okay.
So
Do you still talk to Travis?
No, we don't. But I've emailed him some things, and I've seen him connect with people, so I know he's getting it.
Good.
I know he gets it.
He seems like an amazing cat.
He is. And so I started working with her, and then people saw me on the show, and they were like, you're in Atlanta. And then people started reaching out to me to do projects.
Okay.
Working on I would start getting paid to work on some PR projects remotely.
Okay.
And so I started doing that and managed to like save up all this money so
Wow.
that when me and the guy broke up, it was kind of like,
There it is.
bye. All
You had
right,
your
bye.
nest.
Yeah, see you later.
And now look at you.
I know.
You don't have a hoopty anymore.
I don't have a hoopty.
You have a successful business.
I do.
You have a blog. You have a following in social media. Everybody
Yes.
wants to be with you. You have brands that are throwing themselves at you.
Take me down.
You are very inspiring.
Introducing Play.it, a podcast network like no other. From award-winning news programming and #1 sports brands to entertainment and business leaders, Play.it is delivering storytelling at its best.
We're going to be having conversations with newsmakers and culture shapers,
I will be talking mostly about fashion and how I've been marketing all my life.
tech, culture, and entrepreneurship.
Everything in the world of sports entertainment and wrestling and beyond.
Hear what you've been missing at Play.it.
Talking social media and culture. This is the Key Influencer Show with James Andrews.
In your world, in your industry, do you feel like there's some brands that are doing it right, or like that impress you, or maybe brands you want to work with that are doing it right, or
Wow,
is there
yeah.
anybody that's kind of like, because I know that the hair, beauty, I can put it all in one lump. It's going through a transition.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
Literally.
with women of color. I mean, there's a whole thing, and I know we both know Lisa from Carol's daughter,
Yeah.
and I wonder, like, do you feel like there is room for, like, is there someone who's actually doing it right? Like, I feel like Lisa was super innovative.
She was.
For that time period.
And she is.
And she is.
And she still, like,
is, yeah.
I think for as big as her company has gotten,
And we're talking about Lisa
Price of
Carol's daughter. Thank you.
As big as her company has gotten, it still feels warm. It
Yeah.
still feels like if you see Lisa, she'll hug you
Yes.
at the marketplace, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a huge feat. Like, how do you keep growing and go from Macy's to this? I think that they've just done a wonderful job of pivoting.
Yeah.
Like, from Macy's to Sephora to Target to, like, boom. And it still feels good.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to make all those moves and a company still feel good. It still feels good.
Yeah. My wife was telling me they're expanding who they're going after. She saw her on HSN, I guess.
Yeah,
And it's not just about women of color, I guess.
Yeah. And I met Lisa, like, and I don't know that I just, she's so raw and so real. And I just was like, it just confirmed that I can continue to be myself.
Yeah.
You know, she's so herself.
She is.
That I dig that so much. And I think Shea Moisture, which I think probably is competing in the same space.
Okay.
They're another company that just really is getting it right. The price point is like incredible. The ingredients are amazing. It's just one of those things that it just works. And I think that they're just consistently in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? It's just leading the charge. I love working with them, and I kind of understand. Like I've worked. What's so amazing about these sorts of brands that I get to work with, especially the Black-owned brands, is I get to meet the CEOs and like the founders of these companies.
Is there a founder of Shea? Is there like Lisa? Is there a Lisa of Shea?
There is. It's a family, so it's like it's co-founders. Like so, it's Rich and his mother, and then I think Naeem is the other guy he works with. But Rich is kind of like the person that you will interact with.
Based where?
And
What city?
Yeah, you can tell that he's a G. Like I don't care what he says. Like you can tell that he's not to be played with.
Are they New York based or?
They are.
Okay.
They are. I went out to their headquarters and got to see. They're one of the only. I don't know. They're one of the only companies that are still manufacturing, doing everything in-house. Like they are doing everything. And so when I went back there, I was like, it's humongous. They have their own trucks. Like to know that there are still people, like they've cut out the middleman.
Wow.
And so they're doing everything themselves. I mean, that stuff is amazing. I really love, this is going to sound crazy because it has nothing to do with anything, but it's like Anastasia Beverly Hills, the eyebrow chick.
I do know that one, yes.
Yo, her makeup and like this lip stuff she has, I just ordered like $100 worth of stuff from her over the weekend, and I was just saying I wasn't buying anything this year, but she just moved me, and I was like, you started with brows, and that's what I think people are looking for, their passion, and like what's that thing, you know, they're looking for. She started with something very simple as brow shaping, took that, expanded that to, you know, boutiques. She's got, I think, Brentwood and Beverly Hills. She's got the shaper pencils, and I have no brows, and her pencils are like insanely amazing. And then she's just getting it right in every category. So now she dropped the eyeshadows. And this lip stuff, I don't even know what this is. It just looks like the most insane. I cannot wait to get it.
Wow.
So she's somebody.
Yeah, I hear
really,
great things. Does she use social?
Killing social.
Wow.
I think she has like over 1 million followers, or maybe it's 3 million. Like, and it feels like she's doing it. If she's not, I'd be surprised, because she'll have pictures of herself and pictures of people. And something that I've noticed about these companies and these entrepreneurs is like they've had people working with them for years. Like the turnover is so low. Like you go to these companies, and I think even Anastasia Beverly Hills, like some chick's been there 15 years. Like when you're doing it right, it's like people want to be around. They want to be around. And so that's something that I think that I try to like, when it comes to building my team and leading my team, is that I want them to want to be there. I want it to make it hard for them to move on, you know, and do something else.
Yeah, I noticed that about you. I remember when I came to the office, you have a distinct leadership style.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's documented somewhere, if there's like a playbook, but you definitely have a way that you are grooming your team, which I was very inspired. I think I do the same thing. And one, you talked about it in terms of like them being able to interpret your brand voice in social media. That's one part. But most importantly, building, you know, legacy, like building something that's I mean, I don't know if you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. And so I think, but if you set it up right, you actually have a CurlBox ethos and a CurlBox way of doing business.
Absolutely.
And then you can do other things. And it seems like you're setting yourself up for success in that way.
And I'm just trying these things, and they just happen to be working. You know, I think what I did is said, okay, I'm gonna take all the things that I disliked about being an employee, because I hated it. People should not hate their work.
Yeah.
How do I fix this so that I create an environment that I get that is people are doing a lot for me? And so I think that, and I just had a conversation with a girl over brunch yesterday, that when you give less than people deserve, you get even less from them than you're giving them. So it's just a total wash and a waste. But if you kind of like give them the things that they need, give them things to survive, give them what they need. Like my team, the output is like, they're monsters. Like they're like 3 or 4 people in one.
Right.
And so whenever I always crack up when people are like, I mean, they get complimented so much because they are good. But then I also try to lead by example. I'm not the girl that's like sitting up on my high horse with my feet up. It's like, oh, you do this, you do that. And like, I'm on the ground with them.
Right.
Like they see me like, you know, I'm humping every day just like they are. And so I think that they appreciate that and they respect that. And I don't keep them, if we knock out our work and we're done at 2 or 3 o'clock, let's go.
Right.
I don't need them sitting around. Like, they did what they're supposed to do. Everybody doesn't need 8 hours.
That's right.
But if we need to go past 8 hours,
Right.
we're
You
gonna
have
be
that.
here.
Right. You have that reserve.
Yeah.
So what's next? I mean, are you going to raise capital? Are you? What do you do from here? I mean, I can imagine it's a matter of scale and growth, and
it is.
And I would imagine that you are at a point, just making a blanket observation from the outside, that you're at a point where you can pivot your model. You talked about going into body and going into other verticals, I guess.
Yeah.
That's one part. But even to scale those other verticals, you probably need capital. Or have you taken outside financing? Or
Never.
Okay.
People have reached out to me, but I just haven't taken it. I don't know. Like I'm a little bit weary about it. Not that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I just think that some things need time, and I think that when we were talking about the language and the voice, it's like my biggest fear would be to turn this over to a place where it goes back to people not understanding how to talk to us. That would piss me off.
Because what you've mastered is the ability to communicate to women.
Yes, and so I think that it's so important. And so, and I can't even tell you how many times I talk on the phone with some companies, and it's just like, I feel like I'm in a time capsule. Like they took me back to like 2007 or 99, and it's just like, it's so hard to change something at one of these big companies.
Right.
It's so hard to like tell them this is not a good idea.
Right.
Like I've said that, like I've tried to say that, like
to brands.
Yes.
Right.
Like close but no prize. Like this still feels forced.
Right.
I can show you how to do this without forcing it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important. So that has been my fear, true fear in doing something like that. And I think like what I have found through doing this is that I really enjoy teaching. I love sharing my experiences. I've been podcasting since 2011.
No way.
Yeah.
You have a podcast? How come I've never been invited on your podcast show?
Are you kidding me?
I didn't know that.
I've been podcasting since 2011. I'm on iTunes. My podcast, people like them. And basically all they are conversations as if I was talking to like my younger self,
Wow.
And so I've been doing them on how to network. Like,
is it just you talking, or you
it's
interview
just me.
guests? I gotta listen to your podcast and get some tips.
My latest one was on dating. I do them on like how to get out of your own way.
Wow.
It's like, I do all kinds of them, and they get, I've started them on Podomatic, and it's the #1 podcast on Podomatic in careers.
Wow.
And then iTunes, when we got on there, it was like put me in the new and noteworthy section. So we get thousands of downloads a day.
Wow.
Of women, I think, just wanting information, because I'm giving them that real, like, I talk about how generational trauma kind of shapes the way we work,
Right.
how it's like angry black woman attitude, this and that, learning how to really navigate the space without, like, you don't have to take everything so personal,
right?
Or all these different things that they just don't know. It's like I talk about, like I did a podcast about how I hate seeing people with headphones in at work, like just us, like this is like, I was like, and you can write me and tell me if I'm wrong, but I hate walking into companies and seeing the one black girl with her headphones in, like bumping, and it's like, you need to take them out
and engage.
Right. And it's like, I talk about nonverbal communication.
Yes.
You're whether I don't care if you're listening to my podcast.
Right.
What you're communicating to people.
Right.
It's just do it for me.
Right.
Because I did it and I'm here because I was like, you know what? I'm not letting these people play me. I'm here. I'm listening. I got my ears open. How are you going to overhear some really vital info if you got music going? So different things that I share with them.
So good.
And they don't beat me up about it. They kind of like respect it. One girl wrote me back and was just like, she's a writer, so she has to have her music, and they encourage her. I was like, okay, that's fair, cool, but I share a lot of stuff, and I've been doing it for a while, but I think that may be next for me. Like, I think I want to start like maybe a series, and I did a Google Hangout last night for like an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
With your community, with your people, your followers?
Yeah, and I think it did really well.
First time you've done a Google Hangout?
In this way.
Okay.
Like, I was at my house and I had on like no makeup, and I was just like, I've started to put on makeup. I was like, I'm at home, I gotta go to the gym.
Was it a plan, or you tweet out, hey, I'm doing a Hangout?
It was planned.
Okay.
And so I did it with a girl who did an awesome blog post about my podcast.
Okay.
And so I reached out to her and was like, I really dig what you did. Like, let's do something. So she set it up.
Cool. What's her name?
Her name is Think In Grow Chick.
Okay, Think and Grow Chick.
Yeah.
Atlanta based?
She's coming to Atlanta next week.
Okay.
But she's not based in Atlanta.
Okay.
But she was like, she put it all together, and it was awesome.
Nice.
And she's going to be emailing people the free notes
Okay.
from the masterclass. And so I just did like a really sort of kind of like a super transparent, if you were over my house and we were talking kind of thing. Because I think we need that.
Yeah.
We need that. I don't think that I got that. And so I said, I've got to show us a way that you can be who you are.
Yeah.
You do not have to have an attitude.
Right.
There's a way that you can do this and win.
Right.
And that's what I try to teach my girls in my office too. They're young girls, but I think that they have it.
Yeah.
And if with some grooming, these girls are going to take over the world.
Yeah.
I'm ready for them to be my competition.
Speaking of the world, you travel a lot.
Yes, I do.
I watch your, as I started off as a stalker, I continue to be a stalker. So you seem to be a lover of the world.
Yes.
Where have you been recently that sort of moved you and inspired you? Or where do you want to go that will move you and inspire you?
I really want to get past Europe. Like, that's as far as I've gone right now. And so I want to go further. I want to get to Asia.
Yeah.
I hate flying for long periods of time. So my goal is to try to make some stops.
Yeah.
And kind of stops there and stops back, which may make it like a month-long trip because I just hate flying for like 24 hours. Like, just the thought of that makes me.
Have you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but have you thought about your business?
Globally?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
But the thing that I know is that I need to be in the community and find out, because everybody wants something different.
Okay.
And so I would not try to do that without having some sort of finger on the pulse of what's happening. Because hair, I've gone to some hair shows in Paris.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah. What about South America and Brazil?
That would be good.
We should
They've
talk.
got some good stuff down there because there's some brands, Brazilian brands that work amazing. Like here, I can't think of the names. Because
we should talk.
Yeah,
I have an idea.
Nat, it's really good out of there. They make some really fantastic things. It's just, I try not to overextend myself.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to do.
Is.
It's easy to do, and people will try to do it for you.
Sure.
And I don't ever want to do a bad job. And so when I'm not really interested or I'm not really prepared, I do a bad job, and I hate that. So I say, you know what? This is a great idea. I'm just not prepared to do it right now.
Well, you've never been to Brazil, right?
No, I'm not. I need to go.
So everything that you love, your ability to teach, your ability to be an entrepreneur, and your ability to look at the black diaspora will all come together in Brazil. I spent a lot of time there, and it is phenomenal. At one point, I was talking to Stout about bringing Carol's daughter to Brazil.
Wow.
And we had funny conversations about that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I'm big on Brazil. I think it's an amazing market for people of color. They say every Brazilian has 1% African in them.
Wow.
And it is an incredible place, and they are an economy that, especially from a hair perspective, the middle class is growing and emerging. So anyway, we should talk about that. I had a meeting the other day with Nas's partner and manager. There's some investments that are happening in South America, and we should definitely talk about that.
Moves,
Everybody's making moves.
Wow, I should invest in some things.
You should invest in some things.
I want to.
And you should.
Yeah.
We'll find some things for you to invest in.
Yes.
This has been amazing. Is there anything else that left unsaid, I guess?
I don't think so. I think I cover pretty much all the points. I always tell people they can find me on
on the interwebs.
CurlBox, on the interwebs. I'm launching a new site.
You're at CurlBox, so people, you're not at Myleik?
I'm at Myleik. I'm definitely at Myleik. Myleik has her own thing going on. My website, the current website is CurlBox, but I'm launching a new website, mytaughtyou.com, which is this hashtag.
What's it called?
I guess people call me mytaughtyou.com.
Nice.
Should be up by Friday.
Is that the leadership kind of teaching place?
Yep, the teaching place, that all of my sort of my way,
nice.
The Myleik way of doing things will be up, and the build out is happening now.
Okay.
So the site build is happening now, but the destination, the landing page will be happening, and I just completed like a journal. Basically, I have a note-taking and listing method similar to what you have going on there, but a little bit more. It's like it's a system that I've used.
Yeah, there's no system here, but yes.
Yeah, there's a system that I've used, and that I've used for years to stay organized, and I made it up on my own, and so I'm going to be sharing it in this journal that's going to be pre-selling. Yeah, so there's a little bit of information on how I gave up giving up, and how I got over myself, and kind of telling people, my sort of a little bit of my story, and then I share my note list method.
Oh, wow.
Which is left side for notes, right side for listing, but then how we are to organize the list and how you check things off. It's all about like touching things and then going for the next day. So I have done a lot. People are like, wow, you get so much done by yourself. I did a lot of things by carrying this with me and sticking to this. So I'm going to share that.
Sign me up. I need that.
Yes.
I need that.
That'll be going on sale, pre-order, February 1st.
Oh, it's an actual journal I can buy.
It's an actual physical journal. And the cover says, learn more to earn more.
You are your grandmama's baby. You got more SKUs than I know what to do with. You have, I see the whole, this conversation has led me into the whole journey. You are the 2015 version with a nice car and a nice life, and you seem to really be, it's like you're in a position that you inspire other people. Social media has given you the opportunity to not just sell product, but to be a teacher and to be an inspiration. And thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.